It's a rule of thumb in any contact sport that you celebrate when the fight is over. Anything can happen in a fight. Upsets happen, comebacks happen. And a fight you thought was in the bag can easily end up as a brutal loss. For today's video, we're looking at fighters who went celebrated too early before the fight was even over. Before we get to the meat of the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos on the coolest sports content.
Anderson. Oh, he got hit! Looking to finish it! It's all over!
If you know anything about Anderson Silva, you would know that he was a great all-around fighter, one of the best middleweights in all of MMA history, one of the greatest evasive strikers, and for this particular bout, we need to talk about the fact that Anderson Silva was hella cocky. For this fight, Anderson Silva was going up against Weidman, who was a solid fighter in the middleweight division, but everyone agrees was a class below Anderson Silva. To say Silva expected an easy win would be putting it lightly. Silva trash-talked pre-fight, fully confident that he'll beat down the inexperienced fighter. The fight starts and it's clear that while Anderson is doing his typical dancing, celebrations, and his signature showboating, Weidman had control of this fight.
You gotta catch him. Weidman has an attack. There it is. There it is. Anderson stuffed it.
Then as the second round was winding down, Weidman gets his combo in and delivers the astounding upset knockout.
Oh, he got hit! Looking to finish it! It's all over!
Silva may have been showboating, and judges may have been won over by Silva's fighting style full of fakes and dancing, but in the end, Weidman prevailed and proved that celebrating early can come with unexpected side effects.
Weight class too, so you see him
eat it somehow.
Man,
Hesitation.
You celebrate early once, shame on you. You celebrate early twice, you're really pushing your buttons. That, however, was the case for this bantamweight matchup as Sean O'Malley faced off against Thomas Almeida. It was clear from the start that while Thomas Almeida is a solid MMA fighter, Sean O'Malley was simply outclassing him throughout this entire battle.
You know, hands up high, classic defense.
struggling so mightily to get a beat on what he's doing.
Sean O'Malley was such a badass that he thought that his combo that sent Almeida into the cage fence looked absolutely wrecked was a knockout that ended the fight early, as he walked away thinking no ground and pound was needed. Almeida, however, was more than okay, and he got back up and continued fighting. The fight went all the way into the third round, and again Sean O'Malley thought he had hit Thomas Almeida enough for a knockout.
Struck unofficially 80.
That front kick up the middle.
Oh, that left hand hurt him bad.
Again, Thomas Almeida was still surviving, so O'Malley throws one more deadly right to his downed opponent, which knocked down Thomas Almeida for good, and it wins O'Malley his fight that he felt should have ended way back in the first. Sean O'Malley might have celebrated too early a lot of times during this fight, but in the end, he still won this bout convincingly.
Bisping's ready. Nicely done.
Oh!
Towards the final bell.
If I had a nickel for every time Anderson Silva lost a bout after celebrating early, I would have had 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. For this 5-round bout, Anderson Silva and Michael Bisping were at a close bout, and either one could clearly end the fight early with a knockout or a submission. Then in the third, a now infamous strike happened where Michael Bisping was rocked and had his mouthguard fall out. It's now contested whether Silva knew his mouthguard fell out or if he didn't, but Silva then proceeds to throw a deadly flying knee right into Michael Bisping.
Bisping's ready.
Nicely done.
Oh! Jumping knee! Michael goes down!
Again, Silva thought that flying knee had ended it as he ran around and was doing his signature celebration of hanging on top of the octagon ring. But he celebrated way too early, as again, Michael Bisping was knocked down before the buzzer for the end of the round has ended. Bisping then ended up fighting again, even after the damage, and pulled off the comeback as the fight lasts all 5 rounds, and Michael Bisping ends up winning by decision. Again, in the world of UFC, as much as it's cool to just walk away after a one-hit knockout, it's better to go for the ground and pound or risk losing a fight by letting the other fighter recover.
An astonishing turnaround. He gets to his feet and he stops it.
Sabiri immortalized himself for all the wrong reasons from this bout. Maxwell was down badly throughout this fight as he was losing on the judges' scorecards and was taking crazy damage from Sabiri. Maxwell was on top, but he messed up when after a brutal knockdown on Maxwell, he decides to taunt the down fighter, feeling confident that this win was in the bag.
He's winning this round, that's for sure, John.
Sadiri was definitely not ready, as Maxwell came in ready to mount the comeback. Maxwell definitely get a second wind. And then eventually, after losing out to the scorecards and getting knocked down himself, the comeback was done as Maxwell knocks out Dariush.
Which tells the story. Oh, great shot! Left hand right.
Приехать насколько бразильца пока нет.
Zuluzinho has a big personality to go with his giant physique. Zuluzinho is quite the character, and the hulking giant this time around went up against a young, inexperienced fighter, Schwab. Zuluzinho has definitely been doing damage, and in that damage he caused, he thought he ended the fight early. Zuluzinho had gotten cocky though, and had not realized that Schwab was still ready to keep fighting. And in the end, Schwab pulls off a comeback win.
И победа достается Юсупу Шуаеву.
And that's all for today's video. Which MMA fighter do you think had the greatest comeback from a trash-talking opponent? Write your answers down in the comments, and while you're at it, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications on the newest videos on the best sports content.